Let's talk about audiences now. One of my favorite topics when it comes to Facebook advertising and, well, mastering audiences and understanding how to provide Facebook with high quality audience data is definitely essential to run profitable campaigns on Facebook. So let's get started. What you're seeing here are four main targeting options: interest targeting, behavioral targeting, custom audiences, and lookalike audiences. So interest targeting would be something like reaching out to all Facebook users that are interested in Porsche. Behavioral targeting, all Facebook users that own a Porsche drivers, for example. Custom audiences, all Porsche 911 customers. So this is a data set that is aggregated by the advertiser, for example, by uploading the email list of all Porsche 911 customers. And then we have lookalike audiences, another really powerful targeting feature. And lookalike audiences are all about an audience that is similar to an existing seed audience. For example, all Facebook users that are to a certain degree similar to Porsche 911 customers. So let me give you a quick walkthrough through all the targeting options that we just discussed. So we have interest targeting. It's essentially a combination of site behavior and data from third-party data providers. And it's a basic targeting method and is usually the starting point of your Facebook campaign. So if you have no custom audiences, no lookalike audiences, you're usually starting out with interest targeting to build an initial custom audience that you turn into a lookalike audience. That's pretty similar to behavioral targeting. So it's constructed from user activity on Facebook and offline activity provided by data from Facebook's trusted third-party partners. So Facebook is working with data mining companies, and they actually have one purpose, and that is collecting as much data as possible. And Facebook essentially buying that data from third-party data providers. Similar to interest targeting, behavioral targeting is another starting point of your Facebook campaign. So you either use interest targeting or behavioral targeting or both. And the only difference is that since it's provided by third-party data providers, of course, they don't do it for free. They want money for it, and you're paying up to 15% of your ad spend to cover data costs, right? So you're paying essentially 15% on top of what you're spending. Now, I know behavioral targeting makes your campaigns a little bit more expensive, but still, if you find data that represents the audience you want to reach, it's definitely worth it because you're just going after that audience. So yes, you have to pay more, but on the other hand, you're really going after a laser targeted audience. And again, it's the starting point of a Facebook campaign usually, right? So you're just actually paying a little bit more in the beginning to have a seed audience that you can turn into a lookalike audience. And when you're working with custom audiences and lookalike audiences, you're not paying 15% on top of your ad spend anymore. Then we have custom audiences. Custom audiences are essentially audiences based on data you have aggregated. And at the moment, there are four main audience types. So we have customer data, for example, a list of buyers, website traffic, app activity, and engagement. And last but not least, we have lookalike audiences. This is the only legal way to clone people, thank God. And well, as I mentioned before on the second slide, a lookalike audience is an audience that is similar to an existing seed audience, and that can be fans, conversions, or custom audiences. And really important, the quality of your seed audience determines the quality of your lookalike audience. So when you work with lookalike audience, make sure that your seed audience, again, that can be fans, conversions, or a custom audience, is a high quality audience. Seed audiences are not about quantity, seed audiences are about quality. So make sure you have a decent seed audience. But again, this is just a short overview over the different targeting options on Facebook, and we'll talk about seed audiences, how to build them up, how to create an initial seed audience. That's something we'll cover later down the road. And I already mentioned that throughout this lesson, but that is the general flow. So you're starting with interest targeting and or behavioral targeting to build up an initial custom audience, a seed audience, and then you're turning that custom audience into a lookalike audience. There are exceptions to that rule, as we'll figure out later. For example, how to combine interest targeting with lookalike audiences to have a more specific lookalike audience and to limit it a little bit to go after a more specific audience segment, but still that's the general flow. So if you're starting out, you're using interest targeting and behavioral targeting to build an initial seed audience, custom audience, and then you turn it into a lookalike audience.